Like and subscribe right now, or else this will be in your bed tonight. What was the please stop school presentation that you witnessed? In history class, we all had to do a presentation about some sort of injustice in the world. One kid chose a prison camp for his topic. All his PowerPoint slides were photos of men being stripped, chained, whipped, sodomized, and forced to give blowjobs. We were 13. How far did the teacher let him go before he was stopped? The second slide, teacher interrupted to ask how many explicit pictures there were. The student showed the thumbnails of the slides, and it was something like 40 slides long. God, and what the f? I feel like he was really committed to the act. I mean, it did show the class how f***ed up the camp was, and he probably wanted to see how far he could go before being stopped. I doubt he was attracted to the photos. I'd think that if you were a 13-year and you found a huge gallery of really f***ed up shit and you were making a slid show about really f***ed up shit, you'd think you've hit gold, or he's f***ed up. But we don't know either without more details about the slide. It was my sophomore year English class. This kid who was reading his essay in front of the class and started to stumble over some of the words. The teacher recognized the words and found the essay the kid plagiarized and started helping him read it. The kid didn't understand what was happening and just thanked the teacher and kept reading. Imagine the kid realized and said fuck it and kept reading. That's how I'm imagining it. I watched a kid in his last year of high school start his presentation with "I might f up" while presenting this because I plagiarized the whole thing last night and barely practiced. The prof didn't hear what the student said, but just acted like they did and gave a smile and thumbs up signaling that the student could begin presenting. The whole class heard it, but everyone was just so shocked and curious to see if he would actually be able to pull it off. I'm pretty sure he did. Balsy move, Jason. Balsy move. I went to school for computer security. In an introduction to computer security course, we had to do a project on social engineering. A student decided that for his project he was going to find a way to gain access to a chosen website. He found a small local business website, identified that the domain was registered to an email address from a local ISP called the ISP. To reset the password, they asked him for his last 4 of his SSN. So he hung up. He found the phone number of the business, so called them, and pretended to be from the ISP offering 3 months free if the person did a 5-question survey. They accepted and answered some BS questions. Then he asked for the last 4 of the guy's SSN, which they gave no problem. He then called the ISP with the last 4, got them to reset the password of the email account. He then logged into the email and used it to get the domain registrar to send a password reset to the email, which he used to reset the password of the domain account, and deleted the email. He recorded all phone calls and screenshotted the whole process as he presented all these. We kept expecting him to say, but that would be illegal, so I didn't do X. But he went all the way. The professor finally stopped him after he said he logged into the domain registrar and told him to destroy everything and never speak of it again. I think the professor was a bit nicer than he could have been, potentially to the point of accomplice, telling him to destroy evidence. Wow, nothing like committing digital crimes to pass a class. Holy fuck, dude, that's interesting as hell, but also mildly terrifying. Terrifying, yes, but the flip side of it is that all of it could have been prevented if the business owner just didn't give out the last 4 digits of his SSN. The thing with computer security is that usually the people are the weakest link. That, and if you hit enough people, eventually some of them are going to give up something important. I hope that kid works as someone who blocks hackers now. I mean, in reality, he found so many security holes it isn't funny. That is actually incredibly impressive. I'd hire him to test the safety of my website any day. The one where my school got ripped off by paying a guy who claimed to be on SpongeBob to come talk to us about drugs. He did look kind of like Tom Kenny, I guess. I was also thinking backward about the question. I thought op meant when did the school have to tell everyone to quit doing something for me? It was banning Pokemon cards in 1998 because toddlers were brawling over that first edition Charizard. Not a presentation, but during our school assemblies we often had student performers, which were usually musically inclined individuals or theater kids doing a scene/monologue. One kid decided to do a stand-up comedy routine about a girl giving him a blowjob, so awkward, and the principal had to interrupt him. Thank you, Kevin. That's enough. but I haven't finished yet. We were supposed to have Arnold Schwarzenegger come to our school sometime around 1999 or 2000. Principal was hyping it up for weeks. Then about 4 days before his arrival it was announced on Friday that he wasn't coming. Fast forward to Monday, during morning announcements it's announced he's changed his mind and is coming to our school tomorrow as planned. Come Tuesday morning everyone is excited. We're all amped to meet the Terminator. A handful of parents even came with VHS copies of his movies, posters, etc. We're all going to our gym/auditorium, taking our seats. Principal takes the stage, takes the moment to make some announcements. Award honor roll, perfect attendance, etc. Finally she starts hyping up around Schwarzenegger. Everyone is excited and on edge when she basically says, "Here's Arnie," and it's the vice principal in a leather jacket holding a shotgun, not a toy one either, and spends 30 to 40 minutes trying to hype us up for FC80, all the while doing the absolute worst impression of Arnold Schwarzenegger I've ever heard. Once we realized Arnold wasn't there, people start shouting, screaming at the principals for lying to us, along with some of the parents who came to this. I do hope someone has footage of this meltdown of a bunch of K5 kids shouting and screaming at the principals because Arnold Schwarzenegger didn't come to our school. Because I clearly remember 2 to 3 people having camcorders. Edit. Thanks for the gold. Honestly thought this would get buried. And can anyone explain the Office reference? I genuinely hate the show, so I'm not sure why people kept bringing it up. As for some of the questions, Arnold was scheduled, but cancelled last minute on not only my school, but my cousin's who he was supposed to go to on Wednesday. Instead he only went to one school in my city, which I don't remember which one ATM, but I'll add it if I remember it. Yes, the principals apologized the next day, and the vice principal changed schools the following school year. I have absolutely no idea why he thought bringing a shotgun was a good idea, but I think he was attempting to look the part, which considering his massive gut, really didn't help. For 8th grade talent show, 2 girls sang the Mr. Bledel song. Mr. Bledel was a good-looking, recently college graduated teacher that basically was about how cute they thought he was. Even then, it was incredibly uncomfortable, and I remember looking at the teacher's face, and he didn't seem very amused. God, I would hate to be that teacher. I remember in high school one young and cool English teacher had to stop teaching English to seniors because they were so obviously obsessed with him. It was gross and uncomfortable. I was in 4th grade and a girl in my class did an oral report on Martin Luther King and how he was a hero for freeing the slaves. To be fair, my 5th grade teacher thought the same thing, a woman with her master's degree. People wonder why my state is one of the lowest ranked in the US, and I tell them that. Edit. Jesus Christ, how bad is public education everywhere else? In college, someone was doing a presentation on Nelson Mandela and kept referring to Africans as African Americans. Something similar happened in my school too. The kids were supposed to be presenting on African music, literature, and art, and they starting talking about Kendrick Lamar. In speech 101 in college we had to pick a children's book and voice act each character. That was it. That was the entire assignment. Well, one student decided to take it to the next level. He chose a Berenstain Bear book and decided to not only do voice acting for every single one of the characters, but also act it out. It was physically uncomfortable to watch this guy scramble around the room and pretend to be bears and other animals. It was not well done. It was awful. This was my presentation, and it was about the science behind how Mountain Dew can dissolve a mouse. This was in 4th grade. Needless to say, I got some parent complaints. Every year someone did the Coke and Bones experiment at my school. Every year it won an award. Not at school, but when I was in high school my church youth group went to this church camp. For those Thursday nights are normally the really emotional nights. Well, this camp was different. Thursday night the guy that started the camp comes on stage and begins giving a bunch of middle school and high school boys and girls a sex talk. All I remember from that night was the quote, "Just because there's a hole there doesn't mean you have to stick something in it." This was in college. RBO finals were to present on any topic that was related to biology. A group was presenting on types of protection for sex. Not once did they refer to any body parts or fluids by their scientific names. So, yes, they literally had dick, cum, and pussy on slides and read off them. Everyone kept glancing over at our professor, who had this look, like he was just constantly cleaning his glasses, because he couldn't believe what he was witnessing. They got Kentucky f***ed on grading. Thank you very much for watching. In the comments under the video, write what funny presentations you saw. Also watch our other videos. Bye.